We belong to one discipline, sociology, and we want to belong to one discipline. But this can be connected or associated with linguistic domination, Western categories, with some hegemony.
This film offers a glimpse of the varied debates that took place at an extraordinary conference of the ISA in Taiwan. Although many other themes were discussed, the film focuses on four: linguistic domination, unequal access to resources, privatization of research, and searching for alternative theories.
I think that most of the people who have spoken and people who have English as a second language have expressed the opinion that English is necessary, because we do need a lingua franca, and this happens to be at hand, if that is so. And whether it's English and whether in the future it's Chinese, it doesn't really matter very much. We need a lingua franca.
The place of language in contemporary world is the result of competition.
The language question, it's a paradoxical question, and it needs to be treated with extraordinary seriousness, because I know that some of my most talented colleagues do not feel that they can express themselves in the International Sociological Association.
I would love current sociology, international sociology journals to accept submission in other language.
At least for Mexico, of course, we have some pressure to publish in English, but we have a very good journals in Spanish, and we encourage people to do that, because yes, it's needed to be balanced.
Arabic publications did not count, and now we are fighting. We've been fighting through that. Arabic publications become, if you want to, taken into consideration.
Funnily enough, some of the American journals that are classed as international are in fact national, because of course they do not ever need to have foreign intellectuals on their editorial boards. So there's this kind of asymmetry there.
We reproduce this asymmetry in our own practice, and of course, it's a very difficult question to answer, whether we should have different standards, I mean, how can you really make sure that everybody has access to equal resources? It's easier said than done.
Dealing with the dominant structures that run our life, and how we should be able to reshape and reconfigure it.
When we have to attend a conference, we naturally have to rely on external support, because no government would support you to attend a conference. No government, no university would support you to attend a conference. No private foundation is there to support you to attend a conference. And so how can Southern sociologists participate in the global public discourse?
There is a need for solidarity across the sociological profession, ranging from the north to south and east to west, so that we might be able to address this asymmetry, collectively, and I think we might have to think in terms of strategies to address, the asymmetry.
I've been listening to several papers now, and I'm fascinated because they all come up with the same issue, which is the privatization of the universities, the privatization of research, the emerging and growing role of foreign research funding, for agendas and for discourse of, if you want to, civil society, poverty, democracy, development.
You constantly need to be able to frame your research within strategic research projects that will somehow be relevant to politics, be relevant to business, etc.
Multilateral institutions giving out, research opportunities actually makes the academics or sociologists their knowledge productions very highly commodified. It becomes segmented and privatized.
What we have, I think, is homo consulturescus, someone who is out there looking for opportunities to make some bucks. So I think it's undermining the whole interpreters of sociology in Mozambique. What is difficult now is to be a sociologist. So the question, I think, would be, how is sociology possible today? How is sociology possible today? Because the social conditions to produce a professional sociology are becoming more and more difficult.
We're drifting gradually into the role of technicians, called in, do some studies, do PowerPoints, graphs, and show the, and then disappear.
Those of us who are academically more oriented, we tend to deal with all these donor organizations as consultants.
Hacer la sociología como la hacemos nosotros tiene sus enormes inconvenientes por la enorme dispersión de actividades que uno tiene. Pero a su vez te da un sentido de realidad y un contacto con el mundo que no tendrías si no fuese así.
Research is the same, the privatization of research, but most of the research is heading towards consultancy. But when you look at the production, the intellectual production, you will be, it's striking to see how, the poverty of, if you want to, interesting sociological, anthropological research.
For me, it's clear that we need and we want to debate more and more theoretically. At that stage, we did not debate, we just expressed this desire. We did not fight theoretically.
The truth is that U.S. still being the center of knowledge production, and you look at the elites from developing world, a lot of them still train in the U.S. or Europe. So you kind of go back home and bring, like the dominant ideology kind of get perpetuated.
In my part of the world, may also be the case elsewhere, we do not have the opportunity to talk about theory. There are no conferences or forums on theory. So I think it is important, and I support what others have been saying about highlighting theory, both in terms of highlighting local theory as well as revisiting Western classics. I mean, it would be very interesting and excellent to have a theory on a conference revisiting Weber from our point of view. But the local thinkers are also very important.
Theory will not come from only one part of the world or from some countries. Theory will come from various parts. It will be global. So the debate will be created globally, which means also in many local places.
There's so many interesting thinkers out there in Asia, Africa, and Latin America that are waiting to be discovered. So let's have these forums and workshops and conferences about these things. Thanks.
Is necessary because we do need a lingua franca.
Some of my most talented colleagues do not feel that they can express themselves.
How can Southern sociologists participate in the global public discourse?
Now is to be a sociologist.
It's clear that we need and we want to debate more and more theoretically.
It's a time of transition in that sense. We are sort of being pushed into much more of a kind of global vision of what doing sociology is all about. Global visions of collaboration across those kind of inequalities.